Hello and welcome back to the Game.gg pre-game panel for the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021. Once again, it's Lumos here and Xenofly with you to bring you some pre-game analysis of the second semi-final that we have coming up. We're still here, of course, at the Esports Experience Center at Kallang Wave Mall. Really stoked to be at a live venue. We've seen supporters, we've seen fans, we've seen friends of all the players, just cheering the teams on. You hear the live reactions and chants from the players themselves, and it's been really nice to see a live event taking place for the first time in such a long while. Our first semi-final of the day is over. It was between Slip Froguru, representing the secondary schools and JCs of Singapore, beating out Nanyang Polytechnic 3-0. Not the closest of matches, but we still saw some good moments from both teams. And now we have a second match coming up. We expect this one to be really close between NTU, Nanyang Technological University, and Singapore Polytechnic, both rosters featuring players that we've seen a lot in the past. So let's talk a bit about these teams.
Yep, Singapore Poly versus NTU SU versus before result. It's gonna be an interesting match. NTU SU before result is actually the defending champions. Actually, hereafter I'm gonna refer to them as NTU. So because the name is pretty long, but NTU is actually the defending champions of this tournament because they previously the previous iteration of this tournament they actually managed to win, but that was before the other schools come into play, such as the secondary schools. Like Slip for Guru, who actually put up a dominant performance earlier. So SP versus Singapore Poly versus NTSU before result is definitely a game to watch.
And before we dive too deep into the rosters, let me talk to you a little bit about some of the sponsors for our event. First up, we have Antidote Studios. As we all know, custom keyboards and switches are all the hype nowadays. You may have seen your friends posting about them on Instagram. May have been a bit annoying, but whatever. Antidote Studios is here to provide you with some uniquely designed custom keycaps, switches, and premium desk mats. Go to theantidotestudio.com and use the code Antidote SOCC to get 5% off your purchase. The other sponsor that we would like to tell you about is All For You. If you are running a student-run club or interest group and you're looking for sponsors to help run your events, All For You is designed specifically to help you find sponsors and execute your event smoothly. For events happening from January to October of this year, you may submit your application by the end of this month, by 30th January, via swiy.io/sponsorship_request_form. And we'll give you this link in the chat so it makes things a bit easier. Well, enough said about that. Let's take a look at the rosters for our teams.
Right, on the side of SU before result, or otherwise known as NTU, the defending champions, we have Harl and BTYX on the tank role. We have Bubble Kitty and Deadpool 117 on the DPS role, and we have Claire and Zerid on the support role. For the tank role, Harl actually is also known as Savage in the community, and some of you know him as the as the player of playing in contenders in Pacific. So yeah, he was representing Global Esports previously, and he has been very instrumental in a lot of the tournaments that have been played, especially in the regional setting, such as Pacific Contenders 2018. Yep, this is Savage right now. Otherwise, we'll be calling him Harl throughout this tournament. Now, this is BTYX. He's also the tank player for NTU. And yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing more of his Reinhardt or off tank because he'll be replacing me because I previously played in this tournament as the off tank for NTU SU before result last iteration of this tournament. So I'll be looking forward to see how BTYX will fare, especially when faced against SP. And now we have Bubble Kitty, who's the star DPS of NTU SU before result. In fact, Bubble Kitty is actually the World Cup player for 2019. And yeah, a lot of people actually are very impressed with how he plays because he plays a very mean Pharaoh, as we see during the qualifiers. And maybe we'll be seeing more of the pharmacy that will be played. Next, we'll have Deadpool 117, who will be up soon on the stream. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think Baba Kitty has something to say to us, but I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to get at. So we'll move on to the next player, Deadpool 117. He's the hit scan specialist of NTU SU before result. Plays a very mean Cassidy. In fact, he always lands a lot of his shots while the team buys stage on
Oh,
him. So, oh, that's very sweet. Definitely. Wonder who's that for? But we shall see. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to see him popping hits during the tournament. And last but not least, we have actually not. There's still two more. It's still a support role, and this is Claire, who's also actually the tidbit for you is the organizer of this tournament. So it's well, the organizer himself is playing for NTU SU before result. Look forward to see how he
no,
shows
totally,
himself in
totally not
the
rigged.
shows himself in the frag videos. And yeah, and last but not least, we have the raid on the support role. He plays Anna mostly, so he's looking at how he lands those nanos, especially because Savage loves to play Winston. So he definitely want the nano boost from this Serrate, and they have been working a lot together because I've been overseeing some of their practices. And yep, spoiler alert, they might run a lot of nano Winstons.
Yep, and I think many of these players you would have seen extensively in some of our previous tournaments like SCC and PCC from the middle of last year. Well, now let's take a look at the other roster, the team that they'll be facing up against. It's Singapore Poly, the top seeds from Group B.
Well, on the side of Singapore Poly, we have on the tank role, Lumi and Apple. And on the DPS role, we have Chroma and Fear of God. And last but not least, on the support role, we have Nabit and Adriel. Well, some of us know Lumi because he's played a lot of tournaments in the Singapore scene. Lumi has always been a very proficient tank player, and he sometimes even play off tank, especially his signature Zarya. So I will be looking to see how Lumi actually fares in this tournament, especially when faced against Savage signature Ryan. So yeah, we'll be seeing a lot of, maybe if we get King's Row, we'll be seeing a good Ryan versus Ryan matchup. And now we have Lumi. Right now, his tag on this for this tournament is only Zarya, but we shall see whether he only plays Zarya for this tournament, because it'll be interesting if he handicaps himself by only playing Zarya. Because definitely there's some counterplay to Zarya, especially since Zarya is a very low mobility hero. Can play something like Pharah. Pharah will actually hard counter Zarya, because if the team with Zarya can't afford to have a diva as well. Next player that we have right now is Apple, and he will be probably playing the main tank since only Zarya appears to be playing only Zarya. For Apple, he'll be facing off against Savage, so I'd like to see whether he lands the shatters. And yeah, Apple also has shown himself during the tournament. Since they actually have they are actually first in their group. Apple definitely has shown a lot of his tank prowess during the tournament. And I'd like to see more of his Ryan and Winston plays, and even his Sigma sometimes that he pulls up. Next, we have Chroma, who's a support player. Well, yeah,
Yes,
Chroma.
Cameraman's trying to find
Cameraman's
Chroma.
trying to find Chroma. So give us a moment while he looks for Chroma. But yeah, in the meantime, Chroma is actually the support player for Singapore Poly, and it'll be interesting to see how he meshes with the rest of the team, because as we know, support players are actually very dependent on the team on providing him cover. And since they are running a Zarya, they don't have a diva to peel for the team. Give me a moment.
See, something appears to be the matter. Well, Chroma may not be available to appear on camera at the moment, as our cameraman has hastily rushed to inform us. So, yeah, let's go back to a different player.
All right, now we have Fear of God, a DPS player, and yeah, he plays a lot of DPS. He's a very outspoken individual. During scrims, he'll like to type a lot of things. So maybe we'll see on the lane setting whether he is able to instill fear in the enemy team in NTU by shouting or cheering before the match. As a testament to his DPS prowess, is that he's able to play heroes like Doomfist, Cassidy, and he plays a lot of different types of DPS. So I'd like to see what DPS he plays for this tournament.
Such are the perils of live production. And at times, well, here's our next player for you, Nabit, on the support role.
Yep, thank you for introducing Navid. Well, Navid is also as you mentioned, the support player for SB. So yeah, he replays a lot of Lucio and Baptiste. So you'll see how his Lucio fares in this tournament. Because Lucio, as you know, is a very instrumental hero in a very tempo-based matchup. So we'll see Singapore Poly runs Zarya, so they have to have high tempo and Zarya to actually they have to have a Lucio to actually move the Zarya around because Zarya is a low mobility hero. So you see how this Lucio pairs up with this Zarya to actually gain an advantage over the enemy composition. And we have Adriel because Chroma is not around. So Adriel will also be playing. And yeah, he's also the support player for SP. So as mentioned, it'll be interesting to see how he gels into this very fast tempo-based composition because they have a Zarya player right now, only Zarya. So yeah, especially if I'm not sure what support he'll run, because if you already have a Lucio to cover, maybe he'll run an Anna. I'm not sure because I haven't seen much of him during the qualifiers because Chroma was actually playing. So
Well, so that's it for our look of the players from both teams here at the Esports Experience Center. Everyone seems to be having a good time. No one seems quite prepared to appear on camera. Everyone with a look of surprise as someone goes up to them and points a camera in their face. But I think it's a nice surprise to have, to be featured on stream. Not something you always expect as an esports player, but anyway, that will do it for our pre-game analysis of our second semi-final. We'll be back shortly to begin this match. So stick around.
And we are back yet again. A huge shout, of course, to Xenofly for giving that amazing analyst information for all of us here today, as well as Lumos for tagging in for the analyst desk. Unfortunately, I wasn't there.
Well, yeah, we weren't there for the player interviews. Thank you for delivering some really interesting interviews. I mean, of course, it's always really nice to hear from the players. In esports especially, you don't get to see the players up close and personal very often.
Yep.
All you see is their on-screen persona. So it can be really good to meet them in person, to talk to them, get an insight into the players behind the monitors. Of course, we had an interview with the winning team, Slip, who just looks so confident and so relaxed. But up next, we have two teams that have every right to be confident in their abilities, every right to be assured of their ability to go far in this tournament. It's NTU and SP, both featuring players that are very well known, very well, seen all the time in these tournaments.
Yep.
Well, let's take a look at the maps for this second matchup. Again, it is going to be loser's pick for most of the maps, but we will start out on Nepal, so something different this time.
Okay, I see you, Nepal. I like Lijiang, but I also like Nepal. I think number one, I would say, because of how the maps function in general. I especially like Sanctum because it's just fun to just stop them at the choke point and just prevent them from coming out in general. And there's only like another way out, which is the right or left, depending on which one you decide. And based off of that, right, it's just fun when you're winning.
Oh, it's absolutely. Control's always fun when you're winning. But of course, it's just a chaotic game mode in general, and we can really see compositions that allow teams and allow individual players to pop off in a bit of a less structured sort of fight flow, if you will.
Actually, coming into Nepal, what kind of team comps did you expect?
Well, I think on Sanctum that you were talking about, that big pit in the middle is often a bit of a mess, to be honest. You could see the divey compositions to attempt to close the gap across the pit. You can see teams running sort of a more Lucio style composition to really move around the map quickly. Sometimes people even play Pharah in what is a pretty enclosed area, but
User in your channel timed out. User
Nepal
joined your channel.
on all 3 points. So we may see quite a lot of that, especially since players on NTU and SP are known for preferring these projectile heroes on occasion. So that is what my hunch would tell me we are going to see.
What was that third map again in Nepal? I kind of just at the tip of my tongue.
Sanctum Village and
the last one. Not market. That's Lijiang. Sanctuary.
Was the one with the temple?
The temple in the middle. Yeah, I kind of forgot. I think it was called temple. Maybe. We'll find out later.
Yeah, it's actually eluding both of us, which is quite annoying.
Yeah.
I think it's always a good trivia question for trivia quizzes. What are the name of all 3 rounds on this or that control map? It's always fun. Of course, you don't get to see those names very often because when you load into the game, all you see is the name of the map. So it can be a bit confusing, but anyway.
In general.
Nothing too.
Sorry?
SU before results.
Wouldn't know, man.
Yeah, well, so basically, it's a grade 3 scheme that allows you to exclude the grade from your module, from your GPA. And the common gripe with NTU students is that they have to guess the results of their modules at SU, the module, before they get their results, which is a bit of a coin flip at times, a bit of a lottery. But anyway,
Are you sponsored by universities?
Well, no, you see, I'm not exactly painting them in the most positive light. But anyway, it's not my school, right? So no personal ticket. Anyway, we're done stalling for time, and we're about ready to head into the match, thankfully. And you can see these teams face off starting on Nepal.
Okay, so NTU and SP. I know a lot of very familiar faces, especially from NTU as well, right? Like people like Barbara Kitty, we have Claire. Crescent, no? He is, of course, the tournament
he is the tournament organizer. So accusations of rigged games aside, obviously a big shout out to Claire for putting double duty effectively, playing at the highest level with one of the strongest teams that we have here. And at the same time, trying to make this entire event run smoothly. We do have a pretty sizable production team here. Casters, camera crew, producers, organizers, marshals, lobby admins, observers. The list's actually pretty long. And the number of people here at the venue today is really quite sizable.
Yeah, I mean, ideally not so sizable for COVID, but I mean they're practicing the social distancing, of course.
Yeah.
So nothing to worry about. They're all wearing their masks.
Yeah, we are of course sealed off in our little caster room here.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people in here with us, so we're safe.
It's media. We have the media pass on. Nothing to worry about it.
Individual hidden magic pass here. But yeah, we can hear the players outside actually talking, laughing. You can hear the chants and the cheers before the match. And it's really fun to see. It almost seems like a professional esports tournament, the way things are going. So that's really fun to see.
A really huge shout out to tournament organizers in general. This is, of course, all a community effort. So without the passion for this game, this wouldn't have been possible. And it looks like we are going to hop right into the game right now between NTU against SP. Whoopsie.
Whoopsie, yep. Well, we will start off on Shrine, the name that we couldn't remember.
For some reason, yeah. Just just at a tip of my tongue there, but in the end, we got it in the end.
Doesn't really look much like a shrine, if I'm entirely honest, which is why it's a bit difficult to remember.
Right. I
Yeah.
it's more of a sanctuary
I would
village.
expect a shrine to have like more steps, you know, to be a little bit higher up. But anyway, double shield composition being shown by Singapore Polytechnic. A very defensive composition with the Cassidy and the Symmetra to begin with. On the other side of things, Bubble Kitty is on the Farah to start things off for SU before result. So two contrasting styles of play coming out from the teams here.
Well, looks like Chroma is actually going to swap out here for the Topian. Yes, it's going to be very interesting. There is only one hit scan. That will be the Cassidy against Bubble Kitty, the Farah. So potentially could be quite dangerous here for the Farah. But right there, and then Bubble Kitty is already 42%. He's getting his Rocket Barrage actually pretty fast, if I must say so myself, for a DPS.
Yeah, and actually not much to do with the Farah on the side of SU before result, and you see SP playing pretty conservatively. Somehow the first pick gets on Deadpool is the first pick on the soldier, but he gets resurrected, and now all teams are at full fighting strength on the points.
Oh, but look at Bubble Kitty. Bubble Kitty is getting the Rocket Barrage very surely. There is the Nano Boost. There we go, Rocket Barrage from the above. Bubble Kitty only gets just the turret. And there we go, right off the bat. SP looks like they're taking the first point.
Oh, you see the moment of hesitation there from Bubble Kitty. Should I go for the barrage or is it too dangerous? In the end, it proved to be the wrong call as Fear of God just snipes him out of the sky with the Cassidy at close range. Could have been an absolutely massive barrage otherwise. But it is Singapore Polytechnic who take the first point after a pretty extended engagement, to be honest. And now, SU before results will have to find a way to poke their way back into the points.
And right now the clock is just ticking away. Bubble Kitty trying to stack up the auto, but he's so low. And there we go, Fear of God putting the fear right into Bubble Kitty right now. That's one DPS down for the side of NTU, and they've really got to find a way to make it true and true. And now Chroma just doing quite a lot of damage here with the Rivet Gun. Actually 95%, getting Molten Core very shortly. And Singapore Poly, they are able to get this fight again.
Yeah, and I think the fact that the Farah fell for the side of NTU so early in the fight, combined with the rally that SP had going, meant that there was absolutely no way that anyone on the side of SP was dying, and they were just able to march forward without hesitation and slowly clean up the members of NTU. So Bubble Kitty going over to the Reaper, opting to take the head-on fight on the ground. So change of playstyle coming through from SU before results.
Oh, Gravity Flux connects only on to 2. Okay, that's enough damage coming in from Lumi. And they are trying to sustain the point, but NTU, they're trying to pop and break into sight. They're going for the right-to-run battle. Deadeye comes up from Fear of God, lands onto Wadia. There's one off tank down for the count on the side of NTU. He's just going ham. He lands the second shot onto the Rhino as well. So there's 2 tanks down on the side of NTU. They are going for more. Fear of God really trying to go for the hunt here while his teammates just clean up.
A pretty expensive fight win actually for SP, but they sequenced their ultimates pretty well. First, the Gravitic Flux to slow down the rotation from NTU, and then the Supercharger combined with the Deadeye to really chunk away at the resources of NTU. So over to the ball now.
Alright, Harley trying to Alina. He has managed to touch the point. It is 100%. It is overtime, of course. Chroma gets locked down. He does pop out the Molten Core in time, but right now NTU, they are managing to push off Singapore Poly off the point. Molten Core does take down at least one tank of NTU. Right now, it could be anyone's point, but right now Singapore Poly, they're holding strong. But look at the annoying Lucio. It's on point Claire. Trying to stall as much time as possible. It looks like towards the end, Singapore Poly will take Shrine in the first map of Nepal.
And the desperation switch to the Wrecking Ball actually almost working out for NTU. Just rolling into the backline, creating so much space and allowing the Reinhardt to land a pretty big shatter as the jacket sweater hastily pulled on there. Maybe it's a bit chilly here in the Esports Experience Center. But SP will take that first map. It was pretty close, pretty competitive, but pretty well controlled in the end by SP.
I mean, SP, they held the point all the way. Although NTU proved quite a decent opponent against SP, it's just that they couldn't just capture the point towards the end. They had a lot of really close fights in general, but SP just came out stronger.
And the way that SP dealt the Farah to deny sidelines and kite the spam damage coming through from Bubble Kitty was pretty effective. So on to Sanctum for second map, same composition for both teams.
Yeah, we will be, of course, in Sanctum. We do see, I believe, one Lucio, and that will be on the NTU. I hope he does manage to make some kind of play here. But then again, Apple, he's playing the Orisa, so it's going to be very scary once the Halt lands right above the pit as well. And Bubble Kitty will be able to get the first pick right now, and that will be the Torbjorn down for the count side of Singapore Poly. And it looks like, oh, we're going to go for a short pause here.
Yeah, I was wondering how Chroma on the Torbjorn somehow got taken out by Bubble Kitty there. Whether that was a result of the technical difficulties or just, a sneaky teleport from Bubble Kitty. Not quite certain, but we do have a bit of a pause. And it seems that Lumi's Smite is not working. So that's going to make communicating a little bit difficult.
Oh, it looks like they fixed it, and they should be ready to go yet again.
Yeah, quick pause right there.
Okay, there goes just the R coming in from SP.
Well, we can go ahead and analyze this
That's
fight a
what
little bit
FT.
right now because up to members are NTU right up in the faces of SP. They should be able to clean this one up quite easily. There we go.
NTU is just pushing it all the way towards the Singapore Poly side, and they are able to go for the team wipe here. There we go. That's the Cassidy down for the countdown. 5-flame kill streak for Bubble Kitty. He has been having a lot of impact in this fight.
Yep, and now with the different composition between the two teams, the win condition for NTU is quite clear. To close the gap to SP to get right up in their faces and not get spammed out by the double shield. And now that they have control of this choke, they should be able to pick their engagements quite effectively.
I mean, Singapore Poly could always go from the other side, but look at that. That's a huge damage that's coming in from Singapore Polytechnic. They can, it's still contesting, just brawling away. No one has died just yet, but look at the first blood will come on the side of NTU as they take 4, 5, maybe even 6 right at this moment. There we go, 6-1 down for the count. And just like that, NTU, they are holding really strong on this point.
Yeah, and then the fight starts out, I think, with a really critical boop from the Lucio on the side of NTU to push the Sigma from SP right onto the choke and into the back line of NTU. And that just breaks apart this nice double shield formation from the side of SP and breaks the fight open. So a clean fight win, not so expensive from NTU. SP trying to rotate their way into the point. They do actually make it off the choke, so that's an improvement.
Oh, that's a huge counter against Gravitic Flux here. Yeah, but only so much has been done from both sides. There's 4 ultimates being used here, make that 5. But nothing has been done. Make that 6 ultimates being used for this, but that's the supercharger being popped down as well. So Poly trying their best. Rally even being popped for this one. That's all out from both sides. Even the Torbjorn is getting into the Golden Core very shortly, but he's trying to make his way back from spawn. Right now, Singapore Poly, after using all those ultimates, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 ultimates from Singapore Poly, and they finally managed to take this point against NTU with 91% for their side.
Well, being through the Gravitic Flux, that's 5 ultimates, and of course, NTU responding with 4 of their own. It was a pretty close fight, but SP coming out on top, able to create a bit of the distance that they need to avoid taking damage. Oh, what just happened there?
Chroma fell, but the Gravitic Flux got just online yet again. Lumi has been popping off this Gravitic Flux. It's just coming up and just recharging up, but unfortunately it goes down for the looks like we can go for a short pause because it's Chroma TCs, unfortunately. But NTU, towards the end, they do manage to at least pick up this point towards the end.
Yeah, and I think that disconnection's probably the reason why Chroma walked off the map on that Torbjorn. Seems like a bit of an odd error to make otherwise, in the downtime between fights. But still, this second round proving to be a lot more in the favor of NTU. They decided to come up with a different composition, the double bubble, the Winston and the Zarya. And of course, what you really want to be doing with this composition is to take fights at the choke to use the Zarya bubble and then the Winston bubble to really disrupt the rotation of an enemy coming, or to disrupt the rotation of an enemy through a choke. And of course, when you are the one controlling the point and controlling the space that you have, it becomes a lot easier. And I think that's why we see NTU having more success this time around.
No, I mean, Singapore Poly, I believe I saw the the kinetic grasp is one of the ways that they can push out. And as I saw, like, Lumi just push out right straight through the choke point, just absorbing all the projectiles. So maybe they could do that again, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about finding a way through the point. If you are Singapore Polytechnic with the double shield, you don't really want to be fighting up in a tight room or small room or in a closed corridor. You do want to create space, allow your Orisa to get some of the spam damage in, as well as the Torbjorn. Give your turret a nice off angle to work with, which of course requires that you get into the point in the first place. So it's all about SP being able to survive the initial rotation into the point. And of course, now that they have managed to do that, they do have control of the point, and they will be able to set up on various off angles to, watch the different chokes that NTU can come and rotate through to get into the point. So double shoot competition definitely is one of the stronger compositions to be holding a point with.
Yeah, so I mean they are definitely gonna stick with the double shoot comp as of now, but later on I believe maybe they may even stick with it throughout all the way, because this comp I think is pretty solid on most maps actually. Especially it depends on how you play it out, right? The timing, the synergy with your team as well. It all matters down to the communication. So then again, Divecom could stop this out. Maybe it's just a matter of when.
Well, I think what you can say about a double shield is that it tends to be a more slow and stable composition, but it doesn't require super fast execution and super fast decision making. So it does give a certain amount of buffer, a certain leeway for your team to be a bit slower with your decision making if you're not entirely confident in how you want to execute. But that also means that you make fewer mistakes. That also means that there's less stress on your team, there's less pressure on shot callers to make snap decisions really quickly, and can be a really nice, safe, secure way to play.
And they're just sticking with it all through and through. I believe also because Chroma I think he's playing from home, right?
Yeah, it seems that he's not here in the venue with us today, which is why our cameraman couldn't find him. He's playing from home. Maybe something's up with his house internet. Suppose it's better that one player disconnects than that 11 players on venue disconnect. But anyway, back into
sounds like
the
going back to the
game.
game. Yeah,
Yep.
all right, he's back with no ultimate, so that's very unfortunate. Because I believe he did have the molten core, but I mean this map, Sanctum is kind of already a given. Because they already had it to 91%. They retook the point, and there's only so much that Chroma could do at the point of time.
Yeah, a bit of a free win at the end, a free recapture handed to the side of NTU thanks to that untimely disconnect. So it is 1-1 as we head into Village. And if NTU would like to pull out some more of that Farah, this seems like a good place to do it. Lots of open space for the Farah to fly in. Of course, you can rain down rockets on the point quite effectively and use that central building for cover.
Yeah, I mean, but when it comes down, I mean, Farah has to come down eventually to touch the point, or she could just stay outside all the way and let her team cap it. It just depends on what is going on in the Farah's mind. That will be Fear of God playing the Farah.
Yeah, plot twist. It's SP running the Farah this time around.
Yeah, Baba Kitty this time playing the Mei, I guess for a good reason as well, to stop them at the choke point, which is what they're trying. They're just death balling it up, just sends the whole 6 right into the choke point and just prevent and just eliminate 2 players. And then they even get the Farah. That's quite interesting.
It's really beautiful decision making from the side of NTU. They're identifying the win condition perfectly, which is to pick some vulnerable members on the opposing team and run them down as a 6-man unit. So first control the point over to NTU. They do have the ability to set up inside the point quite comfortably with the Symmetra and the Mei. Not sure you want to be playing out in the open against a Farah, and seems like NTU will rotate back to the point slowly but surely.
There's nothing to contest this pharmacy combo. It's going to be a huge nuisance against NTU. There's only so much that they can do, and they are of course getting pushed off the high ground from the open. They have to play inside. They have no choice but to play inside. But that is where Tracer is gonna shine, and they just pop off the side. They're gonna have the force Fear of God to come on the side, but it's just working out for Small Poly at this point of time. Lucio, Claire just trying to buy as much time as possible. They managed to at least get up to 31% for the first at least minute, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why NTU chose to hold outside the points. You could see they tried to rotate back in towards the end, but they took too much damage in the process. Bubble Kitty falls early, and without the Mei to kite some of that damage with the ice wall, they just get picked apart. So SP with control of the points, but they are down Apple, who jumps off the map to reset.
Look at that, Singapore Poly, they're just going ham yet again, preventing NTU from capturing this point whatsoever. They try to contest it, but they can only do so much, and Fear of God here picks up at least 2 for themselves. Now, NTU, they have to reset, come up with another plan.
Yep, Symmetra wall not too effective really against a Primal Raging Winston, who can just jump right through the wall. So SP retain control of the points. And SU before results now need to find a way to rotate onto the point without losing anyone in the process.
Looks like they finally decided to swap out with the Cassidy as well. May be able to try and take down that pesky Farah, and there we go. That's the Farah down, but he's gonna get razzed up here. Valkyrie and Nano Boost, of course, being popped here. Lumi trying to do as much damage as possible, but SU before results, they are dishing out damage of their own. The amplification futures dealing massive amount of damage as well. And this point capture back into SU before result. Wow, look at that. Fear of God is back on point, trying to cause a lot of nuisance now.
Yeah, I really thought this fight was going the way of NTU, but somehow the returning DPS members of SP able to do so much work, and NTU not able to clean up the fight in time, and it will go the way of SP. What a change of fortunes. This is quite unexpected, but SP will retake the point very quickly. And we are close to one fight territory at this point. One more fight win for SP will grant them this round and the map.
Oh, that's very. I mean, that's not too bad from SU before results. They managed to at least get it to 54%, but they got to break through this choke point. They have 5 Ottomans. That's the sound barrier being popped here. They have to push through more against Earth Shadow being popped here. I believe that's a 3-man Shadow onto the pharmacy, pointing at 4-man Shadow actually, and they are able to just clean the house of Singapore Poly. Apple going for the remake here against DMAC yet again, and he's just gonna go down for the count. There is Rocket Barrage from Fear of God, but he's nowhere to be seen. He's all the way back at this spawn, of course.
And I love that sound barrier coming out from Claire aggressively, not waiting for the barrage to come out. He just presses Q and the entire team rushes out of the choke. Fear of God never even gets a good opportunity to press Q and use his own barrage. So, as you before result, they find the play, they make their way out and onto the points. Oh, someone's back capping a sneaky little tracer. They're just trying to distract the members of NTU.
Oh, the back capping actually go all the way through, but there we go. There's gonna be, I believe, no, it's not gonna be the nano boosted Rocket Barrage, but just the Rocket Barrage alone by itself, not being able to find anyone. But Chroma does commit the Pulse Bomb here into this fight. Ultimately, yeah, it just back and forth, and I'm just trying to see what's going on. No, that's insane. Apple, this is gonna be the Diva Mac fight here on the point. Only sustaining for so long, but as you before results, they still have the point in the back. It is going to be overtime Claire, and I believe Ali is just going to try and spend the point as long as possible here.
Yeah, complete change up in team composition from SP. They go for the ball and the tracer. They pull apart the side of NTU and they get a bunch of kills as a result. Having a few ultimates to work with, absolutely useful there as well. The fight is still going on. The sound barrier comes through from the side of NTU, but they are losing members quickly.
Oh, this is going to be super close. As you before result, they do manage to take down 5 members from Singapore Poly. It's just one wrecking ball remaining, and there we go. As you before result will take map number 1 in Nepal against Singapore Polytechnic.
That was really, really close. I mean, that last composition change from SP really throwing a spanner in the works. Disrupting the formation of NTU to get a few picks to start the fight with, but not able to clean up the team fight. And the sound barrier comes through at the end, just enough to power the remaining members of NTU to close out the fight. So that was a really, really close map, as we expected. Both teams closely and evenly matched in strength, but it is NTU that will come out on top the first map.
Yeah, so next map will of course be, I believe, the hybrid
map.
Yep.
That's right.
Any speculations of which map will be going on?
Well, the thing is, we've seen both teams run all sorts of different compositions. So it doesn't seem that either side has a particularly favored composition. And so in light of that, I would just say King's Row. We tried to be clever the last time and we got it wrong. Let's go for the safe option and say that's going to be King's Row, picked by Singapore Polytechnic.
I'm trying to remember most of the hybrid maps right now. I think potentially we may see Dorado. It wasn't.
King's Row, Blizzard World, and Barney. And Hollywood and Icon World.
I think next could potentially be Hollywood. I feel, seeing how these two teams play, and they have been playing Hollywood before from the qualifiers, if I remember correctly. So right now, I believe it should be Singapore Poly. Yep, Singapore Poly will be the one picking this map. So I'm gonna say Hollywood.
I think Hollywood's a good shout, especially since it does favor Farah a lot on points A and as well as point B. Or we could see Icon World, which is another popular Farah map. Both teams seeming to run quite a lot of that. Not so much of the slow-moving double shoot composition. Both teams resorting to sort of Winston and Ball at various points throughout Nepal. But yeah, I think the thing I found the most interesting was that we saw so many different compositions coming out. Both sides adapting, shifting to counter each other effectively. It's NTU that come out on top of a very scrappy first map, but it was really exciting to watch, and I can't wait to see the rest of the series.
Me too as well. I mean, I just love how they keep adapting to one another, keep swapping out the team comps as well. Maybe they should have, if I'm not wrong, SU should have swapped out probably for the Cassidy earlier. But they did in the end and it worked out. But right now we're gonna go for a short break while the players get ready. So we'll see you guys soon. And we're back yet again. I'm Toys, and this is, of course, Lumos. We are going to go into the map pool. And you know why it's chosen?
Well, we chucked random things at the wall and see what stuck, and it turns out that Icon Vault is the chosen map for the second map of this series. We did think that both teams, since both teams prefer Pharah or do favor running a lot of Pharah, this might be a popular choice. It was, of course, the choice of Singapore Polytechnic. And this choice probably indicates that they are going to run a lot of the pharmacy, at least on the first 2 points of the map. That clock tower in the very middle of the point does give you a lot of cover to play around. You can duck around either side of it, rain down a lot of damage on the point. So it is a really good point for that composition.
I mean, I'm expecting again SP to dish out the pharmacy. But then again, so far, Baba Kitty actually proving quite a menace towards using the Pharah as well. So I'm just thinking of who would come out stronger on top here. Both teams seem pretty, I would say, confident with their double shield comp. I think, depending on who is the one that is defending, will most likely play by the bridge, and maybe perhaps defending side probably wouldn't have the pharmacy, right? It will only be the attacking side, most likely.
Well, the thing is, if you do control the choke to begin with, you can start off the pharmacy and just hide your Pharah around the clock tower, and she's pretty safe up there. So definitely not a bad choice either, regardless of which side you are on. But we'll find out shortly what both teams are running at the moment. No, well, Pharah from the side of SP. And SU for results, probably, possibly going for a double shield. So defensive static composition here, and of course the advantage of running double shield here is that you can just position one shield tank on either side of the clock tower and effectively cover off both angles. So that seems to be the way that things are going at the moment for SU before results. On the other side, Singapore Polytechnic, they've got the Wrecking Ball to start things off with, so that can be a very strong counter to a double shield. Never mind going for a pure dive comp with the Winston and the Diva.
Oh, okay. Pure dive from going back with Singapore Poly, maybe able to do something big here, but as they're gonna try, perhaps, knowing like the moment they spawn the dive comp, they're gonna immediately back up straight to the point. But are they actually gonna do that? Oh, that's not good. Bubble Kitty, the first one to go down, the first blood. And that's not good at all. But look at that, debut doing an insane amount of work on the McCree. Is able to take down the Pharah as well as the Winston. Pharah is of course gonna get rest up here. Gonna try to leave another day and take this battle head on.
Yep, SP made their way onto the point, but they've lost a couple of members in the process. They potentially stabilize and then go for another dive. Oh, the flashbang is beautiful, allows members of NTU to kite that power driver.
Oh, Lumi just being an annoying little wrecking ball, but note that Uni can stay on for 6 seconds. But oh, huge payoff there. Let's right into the face of the Cassidy there. So ultimately, he said, I mean, as you before we saw, they're getting pushed back quite a fair bit, but they're trying to touch the point as much more. Oh, a huge data comes in from Deadpew here, lands onto two squishies, and they should be able to defend this point.
Yeah,
For a moment they were losing it.
Yeah, a beautiful flank, and SP slowly getting the advantage that they make their way onto the point without losing too many members, and they can execute. They set themselves up to execute the dive with the fire and the ball pretty well. But Deadpool just sneaks around the side and presses Q, gets 2 with the Deadeye, and the flank absolutely deadly.
Just like that, I think SU may be able to hold on for another fight here, but there comes the ultimates from both sides. There will be the Rocket Barrage, only gets Harley, however, but I think that's good enough. That's one off tank down for the count. SU before result, they try to play indoor, trying to prevent the rest from the Valkyrie as well. They are able to push Singapore Poly back yet again with this fight.
Yeah, and that's 2 fights in a row now. The Deadpool has stunned Lumi on the Wrecking Ball, bringing in for the power driver. And that may seem like a pretty minor detail, but what it really does is mess up that initial engagement from SP and allow SU before results to kite the dive coming in. And I think that's why the dive hasn't really been working out for SP thus far. So Lumi will have to find another way in, or else SP as a whole will have to find an alternative approach to this point.
And there we go. Here comes the minefield as well from Lumi. May be able to zone out as before result, but yet again, Deadpool with the huge Deadeye takes down the pharmacy combo, down for the count. They should be able to hold this another. Just a little bit longer. The power driver comes in from Louis but doesn't connect towards the end. And SU before result pushes Singapore Poly off the point yet again.
Yeah, this time around the engagement from SP so much more effective with their minefield from the Wrecking Ball. But SU before results just dip into their war chest of ultimates. The Supercharger, the Deadeye, and the Sound Barrier all coming out there. And they hold once again. So only a minute left on the clock for SP as they switch to a double shield.
Yeah, they only have the Pulse Bomb at the ready. They have no ultimates whatsoever for Singapore Poly. SU before results, they have at least the amplification will come out. I do hear the Pulse Bomb being committed here. Doesn't really connect, but David does get a huge flail on to Claire here. Deadpool trying to push up. We're trying to make full use of this amplification field. Does take down the immortality field as well. And just the amount of damage coming in from SU before result is just so much. Deadpool has the Deadeye again. He is able to push off Singapore Poly off at this point. 30 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, and SP tried their best to push in through one side of the choke, but the flank is still controlled by SU before results, and Deadpool doing so much work on the McCree once more. Absolutely final fight territory, this time not a lot for SP to work with, and the ultimates are in favor of SU before results.
Yeah, I mean, they can just use the gravity flux to just prevent him from getting outside. There's the Deadeye. Will it connect though? That's the question. It gets shut down by Fear of God. They do get the point. Gravity flux comes in huge from Harley, trying to bring him away. Does take down at least the Peptis. There's no immortality field for Singapore Poly. Just going back and forth, but Fear of God just popping off. Does get the Deadeye off as well. It finishes off Curve. The final shot. Peaks. Unfortunately, the Supercharger coming down in a bit too late, but now again the Reaper comes in clutch against the 2K, and behold, SU before result actually held it all the way through.
It's absolutely unbelievable. One Reaper alive on the point with the Supercharger. Somehow manages to get the 2 final kills, and I'll be honest with you, I thought that Supercharger was a mistake. It looked like there was no way that SU before result were going to turn that one around, but well, I guess that's why these are pro players, and I'm not. That Supercharger absolutely critical to Deadpool being able to hold on to the point right there with the Reaper. And so, 0% of capture progress for SP, despite how close the last fight there was. SU before results, that must just feel so good to come out on top of that hold.
I mean, I just love the Supercharger coming. I mean, I thought it was a waste at first, but out of nowhere, right? Deadpool just comes out with the Reaper, shuts everyone down on point. Maybe SP is starting to regret not taking down the Supercharger.
Yeah, there's absolutely the finest of margins on which that round was decided. The Reaper left with probably under 50 health going into that final engagement. But SP, well, nothing to show for their efforts, most unfortunately. They will come out with this very defensive Torbjorn and, Cassidy composition. That's a hard habit to break, I will.
I understand.
Yeah, Kitty showing the Sombra to begin with, though he might switch off once he sees the Torbjorn on the other side, because Torb is very annoying to Sombra. But let's see how SU before results choose to adjust and adapt once they see what SP are running.
Oh, Kinetic Scrap trying to get that juicy shoot for Lumi, but he's gonna get stunned here. But right off the bad. Fear of God managed to get the first block to Biggs here. Only can do so much, and they're getting pushed off the point again. Lumi could have potentially get caught off here, but look at that. He's already at 60% out for the Gravitic Flux. He's one of the highest outcharge next to Bragg's X rate here with the Baptiste, but he's the one healing, and that's how much damage NTU is taking.
Yeah, well, flashbang into left back was basically how that first fight started and ended. The Reinhardt for NTU getting deleted so quickly. Here they come with a second approach. They're using the same approach path, but they're staring down so much spam damage. So it's going to be a bit difficult to enter from here.
As you mentioned, yeah, the Sombra is swapped out for the Farah to contest against Dystopian. The amplification field pops on by NTU, but can only make so much use out of it because Singapore Poly, you know, they're just holding on strong.
And the problem right now for NTU is that the Reinhardt can't do much against an Orisa and Sigma, especially without a Lucio to provide the speed boost. Having said that, now over onto the Winston, so a totally different approach for NTU.
Yeah, they want to play a little bit more divey here, perhaps. The Rocket Barrage is coming up. The Pharmacy combo doing quite a lot of work so far from what I can see, but they feel as well as their Gravity Flux comes in now, lands on the two main tanks, and Lumi trying his best to hold the front lines with his teammates behind. Kitty is just trying to find a way to use his Rocket Barrage, and he does take out the turret, but that's number one priority, numero uno. Kitty trying to deny Lumi from getting back from his team, but he's just kind of missing his mark just a tad bit here. He's falling a bit short.
And NTU have found their way through the choke and towards the point, which is really good news if you are an NTU fan.
Amplification field as well as Deadeye, but can't find anyone to connect. Yeah, Fear of God has to cancel this Deadeye. But there is, of course, the Molten Core as well as the Supercharger for the Singapore Poly. And that's the Valkyrie pop by SU before result. They're just trying to find their way to go in around Lumi, trying to find the delay, trying to eat up the Rocket Barrage. That's a good kinetic grabs coming from Lumi. And I hear all the almost being popped, of course, by the Molten Core and Supercharger and the Rally as well. All out brawl from both sides.
That was a really strange fight because both teams just sort of stared at each other, standing still, not really going anywhere for about half a minute right there. And in the end, SP able to build back up to the ultimates, get that spam damage in, and win the fight. So, a minute and 12 seconds left on the clock. Not many ultimates for SU before results to work with. Here comes the Gravitic Flux once again.
Oh, Lumi does get a huge Gravitic Flux, takes down 3 all by himself, and he is hungry. He goes for more. Can he find the 2 more remaining? Perhaps he's gonna hold us back a little bit, but he's trying to find that annoying Farah. Maybe able to throw acceleration right in her face if he manages to find the Farah there. But just like that, Singapore Poly, they are holding on super strong. May even just take this all the way here.
It's getting a bit desperate for NTU now, going back to the Reinhardt. I suppose just looking to brawl it out on the point. Finally, they decide to approach the point from right of the clock tower.
They have Rocket Barrage.
Distance.
He's in a pretty good position from the back. Deadeye being popped here by Deadfield, but Fear has a dead of his own, just waiting away. But Pablo-Kitty being able to take down Immortality Field as well as the annoying utilities from Singapore Poly, and just like that, NTU pushes Singapore Poly completely off the point, and that was just beautifully done, especially by Pablo-Kitty, being able to allow the Rocket Barrage to just cancel so much utility.
And at the end of the day, it is the cheeky, sneaky flank from the Farah on the side of NTU that wins the day for them. Flying around basically over the castle wall towards point B and attacking from that side. And, you know, through the entirety of the attacking round, NTU had been trying to force their way in from the left-hand side, which just created so many open sidelines for the double shield composition, the poke-based composition of SP to defend with. And finally, to try something else, the approach from somewhere with more cover, and it pays dividends. And they're able to take that 1/3, that 33% of capture progress to win out this map. But again, it was very close between both teams.
It was, I believe it went to overtime, right? So
yeah, it was an overtime capture.
So it was just waiting for that zoning out coming from Pablo-Kitty, right? I mean, he was there to take out the turret. Yeah, now I remember the thing. Yeah, it was taking out the turret, taking out the Immortality Field. And just like that, they were able to just carry on the snowball as well. And in general, I think that's the way they wrapped onto the point, especially when we were going for more of like a brawling comp, right, with the Reinhardt. They were able to just push off so many people off the point. It's just so scary.
And you find the right pathing and result. Who will take the next map in this series? Can it be a 3-0 or will it be a reverse sweep? We'll find out shortly after this break.
And we are back. Yeah, that's right. Moving on actually we can just done it together, right? In general.
Done it together. Let's try that the next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, let's try the next one. Right?
Yep.
The next one should be possible.
The next
Okay.
one.
So of course, I just want to give a huge shout out to our partners and sponsors. I want to give a huge shout out to Antidote Studio, All For You Game.gg, Game Pro Shop, Uni.co, Precious, and of course Blizzard Southeast Asia for allowing all of this to be possible for the Singapore Collegiate Clash.
Yeah, gotta love local and regional support coming out for grassroots tournaments like these. Always lovely to see. Well, 2 maps done and dusted. Both went in favor of NTU, but both were really, really close. And that definitely gives us hope of seeing a close series in the maps to come. Iconwald, I think, NTU played that really smartly on their defense. They understood exactly how to take fights. They understood how to deny the engagement conditions from SP, and that's how they got a full hold. And of course, on the flip side, SP showing a really strong defense as well with the double shield. And they almost managed to get the full hold back in return. But at the end of the day, the various composition switch ups from NTU just working out.
And just to adapt.
Just adapting and finding that angle, finding the window of opportunity to come in and take the map.
And look at that. For the next map, of course, of Escort is going to be Route 66. Honestly, I wouldn't have guessed this. I would have said Dorado, to be honest.
Yeah, I do agree with you because Dorado is, of course, a Farah map. So what this tells me is that SP are trying to change things up. Not going to take the Farah head-on matchup. Not even going to take the double shield matchup necessarily, because it's not the best of double shield maps with quite a lot of high ground. I think Winston composition.
Yeah, they want to play dive comps here.
More popular
Route
here.
66.
Yeah.
Ideally, I mean, if SU before result can do it, ideally you just hold on top of the gas station or just hold from there and then, right? It's possible. It's always possible. But if SP is able to break up their team comp on top of the gas station, it's gonna be another story for sure. Point number 2.
Point 2, you still expect to see a lot of Winston there. If I'm honest, it's great for closing the gap quickly. Great for accessing the high ground. That huge building in the middle of the point can be so difficult to take control of.
Yep, Genji's a huge nuisance as well from that.
Absolutely. So, Singapore Polytechnic on the attack to start things off. Well, showing the double shield to begin with. I suppose it's worth giving that a try. Over to the Widow, potentially for Chroma. So,
I wanted to say that yeehaw, because they were both going double edge. And look at that. No, I hope they stick to the double edge. I mean, Ash is such a good hero in general because she has mobility, she has the damage, and Halt is just a huge nuisance Bob, right? So there we go. Chroma's gonna stick to the Ash, and welcome to the Wild Wild West of Route 66 between SU before result and Singapore Polytechnic.
Well, both teams running an Ash, but not much in common between the compositions aside from that. NTU going for the Winston Diva dive, and SP holding up top of the double shield.
And it will be actually
Well, the
double
other-
hit scan for
Yeah,
Singapore Poly.
the other way around, sorry.
But they are trying to find a way to push through. But I can see Lumi being brought down to solo. And this is what happens when you're up against that pesky Ash as well and the Torbjorn. But looks like first blood will be drawn. Big's down for the count as well as Harley's poor turret here.
Yeah, moments of indecision from the Winston there as Lumi messes up the jump. But the BTYX not entirely sure where to go on the Winston, gets picked off. Now he will go over to the Reinhardt once again.
Yeah, they need the Reinhardt to actually contest the first point. So it's quite interesting how SU, before result, decided to go for the dive comp at the start. And oh, just so close. They should have just stayed up there. Now it's going to be a free push now coming in from SP, just a little bit. But they just lose the thing. I hear the gravity sucks to be popped here. And then we got MVP from Lumi. Oh, gets cancelled by the huge tip from X-Ray. Huge. And that's going to be able to just deter Singapore Poly from the pushes a little bit longer, but ultimately towards the end, they have just the superior firepower here. It's going to have a free run through this little building.
Yeah, and by the way, I've just noticed this, but seems like NTU are having a bit of fun because it's Bubble Kitty on the Diva and Harl over onto DPS for this round, so maybe they're just trying something different out, experimenting a little bit. But anyway, some different compositions coming out from NTU. They will take the engagement and clear the edge on the high ground, but they lose their Tracer in return.
Oh, that hiding field God actually finds both Claire as well as the poor Tracer. So it's gonna be a bit huge now. It's just having a free run throughout this town. There's another team might coming in.
Yep, and it's a bit of mystery heroes coming through from the side of NTU. Deadpool over onto the Hanzo. It's not quite a rush comp, it's not quite a double shield, so you know, it seems like NTU just experimenting with different things here. Meanwhile, SP run a tried and true composition. Nice headshot there.
Supercharger being popped here. Come on, the high ground area. Huge reason does pop the dynamite as well. Bob is at the ready, but Bubble Kitty takes out at least 2 utility as well as the poor Arisa. They maybe will hold a bit long, but Fear of God and Chroma just doing so much work on those hit scan heroes. They're on the high ground, so there's nothing that NTU can do about them because they're all on the point. They send the Diva up. But look at it, Chroma going ham, misses the shot, but look at it, oh, the huge BM, the baby Diva actually gets the kill to Chroma here. But Fear God won't follow up that up with a 2K of his own, and they are able to capture the second point here. Now we are gonna hit right indoors.
Yep, an untimely need to reload for the side of Chroma gives us a rather amusing highlight, but apart from that, it's all SP in that fight, and they will, you know, move through to this warehouse phase with 5 minutes on the clock remaining. So looking very good for SP to first sweep.
This is gonna be a bit huge and juicy. Gravity Plus coming in from Lumi will be able to connect onto the main tank. That doesn't do too much damage, however. On the high ground, being a huge throws on the acceleration, and the Dead Eye coming in from Fear of God does take down Bubble Kitty. This is one of the off tank main thing down, but the rally comes in from Nebit. They are able to push SU before results back yet again.
Yeah, NTU running a rush comp, but not really rushing there as SP are able to find the initiative by placing the Sigma on that beautiful high ground off angle, and from there it goes all the way off the attacking side. Now they're not even letting NTU come out of spawn.
I hear Bob being popped off as well, and Earthshadow doesn't gonna get cancelled by Apple. In fact, Singapore is just steamrolling this at this point of time. Fear God from the high ground, it goes for more as well as Chroma, and looks like Singapore Polytechnic will finally push all the way through with 3 minutes and 58 seconds remaining on the clock. Can SU before result replicate it?
And hear the cheers and the shouts and the laughs coming through from the players' room on the other side of this door, as finally something goes the way of Singapore Polytechnic. They take that attacking round with almost 4 minutes in the bank. That is a huge amount of time to work with. And as before result will have to pull off, you know, a massive effort here just to even get close to the time bank.
I mean, 3 minutes and 58 seconds is such a big time difference. So, as you result, before results, they have to really actually push SP off the point here, like all the way. And they really have to find a way to snowball this actually.
Yep. Well, it seems like Singapore Polytechnic have found a second win, although I do once again want to mention the caveat that and you have swapped up their roster a bit and put Kitty on tank, and the mains and Harl on DPS. So not what you might call their most conventional or strongest lineup, but nevertheless, got to credit the effort put in by Singapore Polytechnic. Bit of BMing going on in chat.
Oh, apparently
See, amusing.
his sound barrier got cancelled. I think I didn't really quite catch that. That's quite unfortunate, actually.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. We saw some big sound barriers coming through the previous round on the 2 rounds ago on the poll. But anyway, both teams going with similar compositions. Deadpool going over to the Doomfist for more of an aggressive dive. Let's see where they choose to take the engagement.
Oh man, Lumi actually fighting Bubble Kitty right in this cave. Because being such a huge nuisance, the first blood of course will be drawn by Chroma with a nice dynamite onto bite. They are able to just hold this maybe just a bit longer. I think SP can just potentially just hold it right here and then.
Yep, and it's going all the way of SP at the moment. You've got perfect control of this high ground, and you can't really find a proper engagement with both tanks together. So they're just losing members. Having said that, Hao does manage to sneak into the backline somehow and take out Chroma on Ashe. And that forces out some ultimates in retaliation from SP.
Yeah, I mean the utility coming from Chroma, the coach guy just giving so much mobility to get on the high ground as well. And Lumi just being so aggressive, they try to cycle Bubble Kitty right now, and they finally do start cycling right there and then. 2 minutes and 48 seconds remaining on clock. Can NTU actually push out from the gas station?
Well, what they really need to do is to find a clean engagement, find a clean dive with both tanks and the Doomfist. And here comes the nano boosted Doomfist, so that's the engagement they're looking for. Can they get any kills? Yes, they pick up Lumi under Sigma. Here comes the Deadeye in return.
I just trying to find, but can't really connect to anyone, unfortunately. But you know, debut right now with the Doomfist being a huge nuisance. They will be able to take it on the Ashe, but the counter will come in from Fear of God. They are just trying to defend this point. Doing a pretty good job actually.
Lumi not amused by the nano Doomfist flying into his face, but eventually taking him out. CC. Here comes the sound barrier in return. This is going to allow for an aggressive rush from the side of NTU.
That's a huge diva bomb coming from Bubble Kitty. They may be able to just push this all the way through, but they're just being such a huge nuisance. Bubble Kitty actually gets the 4K right now, just cleaning off the last few remaining on the point, and they will finally capture the first gas station point.
Yeah, the entire win condition for the side of NTU with a dive comp is to be able to take the fight early, to find a clean dive onto someone, isolate the targets, pick them off, and for once they managed to do that at the start of the fight, and it pays dividends as they cleanly take the first point. And now the Immortality field being forced out there earlier than would be ideal, as the Batiste caught slightly out of position for the side of SP. Now they're able to safely reset onto this high ground. And let's see whether NTU can execute a clean dive.
Oh wait, what? Did I just see the acceleration actually hit that Winston mid-air? Oh, Gravity Flux comes in from Lumi again. He's been performing a lot of this Gravity Flux and just doing a little bit of a BMT back as well. Oh, yikes. But look at that, Bob in the 3K! Wait, hang on, where was that? Chroma, what was that, Bob?
Well, so 4K if you include the mech, and you have to imagine that most of that was just clean up damage, but nevertheless,
That's true,
it's a really nice. But
it's nice for the kill feed.
It's gonna be the play of the game, probably. Any rate, so always nice to have that in your back pocket. And NTU rather trying again the dive. Nano Winston comes in.
Nano Winston can only do so much right now because the Deadeye just gonna do a massive damage to the Nano Winston. He's just playing indoors and outdoors by the balcony. I hear the rip out the Death Blossom does connect on Snap it here. He should be able to push over Poly off from this point and push all the way through. And that will be, of course, the team-wide. Oh, look, that guy was having some fun with Fear of God. Just pushing off them. A bit of a...
Some spicy chat coming. This rivalry is starting to get a bit heated between both of these teams.
They're friendly, nice, funny. They know each other. They're spender.
Yeah, well, the Nano Winston really ultimately critical to them, to NTU being able to win that fight over there.
Well, right now, I mean, as you before results, they are on the 3rd point right now, but they are already 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on their timer, whereas Singapore Poly actually finished it at 3 minutes 58. So He had to find a way to push it all the way through, maybe give him some time. Lumi again playing so aggressive, up close and personal with the Sigma, making a lot of space for his team actually.
Yep, and this is where it gets difficult for a dive competition to really effectively find angles to engage from, because it's so easy for the defending team to resign the Sigma setup.
Gravity Flux on the 4 actually. Will be able to catch one and actually D-Max the Diva alongside with Fear of God. They're going for more. Lumi finds the Ana as well. Will we be able to finally get taken down? And there we go. Debut actually cleans him up. Right now, he's actually going to commit the Meteor Strike. Yes, they want to go on the aggression. They're going for more. But ultimately, the Meteor Strike doesn't really connect here. Now has to reset a bit with his teammates, head back with the Seismic Slam as well.
I mean, they did take out Lumi early on in the fight, so that's a window of opportunity for NTU to push in, to swap over to the Reinhardt more suitable to this third point. But they're still dealing with a lot of incoming spam damage.
Oh, this will be the Deadeye coming in. They do commit the supercharge, doesn't find anyone, so zero value from Singapore Poly as of now. And then comes the Nano Booster. Reinhardt with the Diva Bomb does connect onto one. That will be Adro. The Baptiste down for the count. Doing a massive amount of job at the front line. Manages to charge Bob. We're gonna get rid of that Bob, but he hits off right the last one, so no extra charge for you. Debut right now, he has committed all the way towards Singapore Poly's backline and is able to push him back yet again. Singapore Poly needs this one good push to get him off the point here. If not, as you before results, they're gonna have it in the back. Debut, he is able to just prevent him from pushing in just a little bit here. Apple coming onto the point, doing massive amount of damage. Does get the huge shield, 50% reduction here, but gets melted towards the end. Fear of God doing massive amount of work here as well. Gravity Flux was it cancelled? Actually, I think that was an interesting Gravity Flux.
Well, out on the Reaper, not amused by the flashbang right there coming through from the opposing McCree. But the longer these fights go on, the more favorable it becomes for SP, because they've got more sustain, they've got more poke damage, more spam damage, and you know, as soon as NTU were not able to get some early kills on the respawning members of SP, it was always going to go the way of the defending team. Now, you see Chroma setting him on a bit of flank with the Tracer. What can he do?
I mean, the payload right now, it's actually kind of heading back just a bit, but Meteor Strike does get popped here. Maybe if it's land on anyone, no, doesn't find anyone. In fact, he's the one to get shot. Death Blossom, Nano Boost, this is season 2 all over again, but can only find just Orisa. Ali doing so much, but the Deadeye actually catches him off guard here. Adrian and friends, they're trying to defend this point as much as possible. Big's trying to do a lot of job, but he's just been brought on so low. Point is still contested. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock. There's only one fight remaining for SU before result. They only have the sound barrier. They're busting out the Zarya, they're busting out the Bastion, and the Hanzo as well. This gotta be some kind of last Hail Mary play coming in from SU before result.
And this match is evolving to absolute meme chaos here with all sorts of unique competitions, shall we say, being pulled out at the last moment. Where can this Bastion set up? How much damage can it do?
Apple does pop down the supercharger as a last ditch moment. Big's being brought on the solo. The Zombie does save him towards the end, but it's immortal defuse, being such a huge result. But Lumi with the Gravity Flux again from the backline denies so much space for SU before result. The Bastion can only do so much. And managed to touch the point. The last one, Bawakiti on the Zarya just going ham. Clay finds the kill for himself as well. The point is so close towards the end. They gotta find this kill. This McCree is so low. Bawakiti as well. Big spot on the half, but it's getting healed up. So close to the Brigitte on the point. Doing such a huge nuisance. The Zarya, the Diva as well coming down the point. He is gonna get Nano boosted, I believe, the Reinhardt, but doesn't find anything. Oh, the Graviton Surge comes in huge now onto the 4-man. They do manage to clean up house in this overtime. Last 2 players remaining. Earth Shadow as well connecting, as well as the Bastion tank mode. Getting that 3k, the huge follow-up from SU before result. They managed to get it through the overtime.
I cannot believe that it actually worked for the side of NTU. It so nearly went the way of SP. They got the 2 opening kills in that fight, and Lumi went for the Gravitic Flux, but Zarate with a clutch sleep dart to cancel the Gravitic Flux. And from then on, the Bastion set up in the back, just pumping out so much damage, turns the fight the way of NTU. And after a long, drawn out, extended fight with tons of swaps to stall, it is NTU that get the payload over the line in overtime. So 1 minute on the clock for NTU, 4 minutes 58 on the clock for SP. Something tells me this is going to on for quite a long time. If NTU can set up properly on the card with the Bastion, it's an instant replay of a Nano Zarya. I think he got stuck by a Pulse Bomb, and the Nano came in just in time to save him from dying.
Yeah, look at that Garrodon search as well. It just came in clutch at the last moment as well as the Earth Shadow. Harley, the Bastion is gonna go to tank form and just clean house. That was beautifully done towards the end by
Well,
SU before result.
What are the odds that we see NTU push it all the way to the end with us, in overtime with just a 1 minute time bank? The Bastion and the double shield on the card. No, it's a diva, so not double shield. But the Bastion on the card, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it could potentially hold this, but it looks like they're going to call for a pause as well. They may be able to see each other's team comp shortly, but Singapore Poly right now, the team comp, they're just doing the same team comp as earlier, and it has been working out for them, so not to worry just yet. But 1 minute is going to be a tough one to push it all the way through, while Singapore Poly have 5 minutes, practically 5 minutes.
Well, for Bastion, it's a bit of a feast or famine sort of composition. Either it works and you steamroll the opposition, or they get their wits about them, stop you at the first corner, and you never get any value out of the Bastion. So whatever caused that pause seems to have been resolved. Both teams seem ready to continue. So let's find out whether this Bastion is going to work for NTU.
I mean, Harley, he just needs that one tank form in his pocket, right? To potentially just shut down Singapore Poly in general as well.
Yeah, I don't think so. But really, this composition is not really about using the tank form ultimate. It's really about just being so difficult to shift the Bastion off of the cards.
That's true.
Yeah, both teams ready to start. Not sure why we aren't starting. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this pans out for NTU.
Oh, look at Lumi. Lumi has always been playing this very up close and dangerous angle, but he's gonna get pushed off here by Deadpew. That's going to be quite interesting to see the Widowmaker on the attack. I hope he should be able to find some space and just deter the high ground from being out there in general. But look at that. Once they see the Bastion, it's gonna be a bit of an issue here. They also have the Orisa as well. It's the protect the Bastion comp, but they can only protect him so much. They're gonna get pushed off just a little bit, a little bit more safer before coming in, because they right now only have 20 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Bubble Kitty and Luby going on that 1-for-1 in that little 1v1 in the little corridor, trying to buy space. They have to finally find the opening pick on the Koma with a headshot, and this is going to open up so much space for the side of NTU. But if you have got that 2 picks back in return.
Oh, it looks like the trades are coming into the favor of Singapore Poly towards the end here. So NTU could only just push up just up to that point, right above the gas station. Well, Singapore Poly has 5 minutes, so that shouldn't be a problem. Unless, as seen before result, they have some kind of insane strat we have never seen before, and they actually hold him right at the bench.
Well, it's going to be the defense of the year, and that probably is literally true since we're at the start of the year. From NTU, if they're somehow able to hold on for 5 minutes with only half a point A, that SP have to push through. But you could see there that SP had a pretty good idea of how to do with the Bastion. They had a Sigma camping up on that high ground, trying to take an off angle, trying to attack the Bastion from behind. And Babakiti and the Diva tried to duel him, and that was pretty interesting to watch actually. Both off tanks fighting so hard for control of that corridor. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the hit scans absolutely popping off. The Widow versus the McCree, or the Cassidy, and it's the Cassidy that comes out on top. Not the longest range engagement that we have, with the defending team camped up on top of the gas station. McCree well within effective range there to do damage, and it is SP that eventually come on top as a result.
Yeah, I mean, Singapore Poly, they're technically one match away from losing this series, or they could just potentially have the pip come online. They have 5 minutes here, so they have all the time in the world.
Well, NTU seem committed to this Bastion, going for it once again. Exact same composition. In fact, SP also going for the same composition. So both teams, I guess, have a clear idea of what they want to run on Route 66. But as we say, a lot of time and not a lot of distance for SP to work with.
Oh, look at that. Gets shredded by the boosted up Bastion.
Just really wasn't expecting the Bastion, which is a bit surprising. So, a bit of time bought the side of NTU.
Oh, good hold.
No reason to panic thus far for SP.
I mean, 5 minute hold, I believe.
Well, you never know what can happen.
I believe in this 5 minute hold.
but Deadpool on the creep, plonking away at the enemy team on the cart. SP not able to find any purchase with their shots thus far, but Bawakili does get demacked, and that's a lot of the defensive power gone for NTU.
Oh, the payload is actually coming up to the point. It's gonna be a bit scary. They have to throw some bodies on the point. It's just 1 meter away. Is anyone gonna touch it? And they actually let Singapore Poly push all the way through without it being contested whatsoever.
And we were spoiled about the result of that match by a few seconds because we heard some cheers going on from outside in the players' room as the C9 occurred. You know, honestly, probably that map was not going to go the way of NTU in any case, but it's always amusing, shall we say, to see a C9.
Yeah, but look at the players right now. Singapore Poly. Not really hyped up, right? But look at all the players. They're just really observing. They are, I guess, respecting the safe distancing rules, of course.
Wonderful to see you've still got fans here, actually. Look at that.
Yeah, the supporting players all here watching.
Well, that's a lot of fans we've got, in fact. So wonderful to see. SP do take one map back in return. So it is 2-1 in favor of NTU. Perhaps the beginning of a reverse sweep.
Yeah, that's actually Steep Tick Frogu. They're actually just sitting down on the floor there.
Yep. So some of the winners of the previous semi-final doing a bit of scouting, perhaps, in advance of the final tomorrow. Or maybe they're just here having fun, chilling after a school day, enjoying some esports, whichever it might be.
I mean, when you get an opportunity, you gotta grab it, right? You can't just let go of it, especially at such a young age. You know, you just want to absorb it all in.
That is true. So shout out to our spectators there. Anyway, we've got to move things along, so we'll cut to a short break, and we'll come back with map 4 of this series shortly. Welcome back to our second semi-final of the day. It is map 4 of NTU versus SP. First two maps going the way of NTU. The third map, SP snatching one back. So it looks like we could have a series on our hands.
It is definitely a game to behold. I mean, I'm loving the series so far. Although like the first map, I believe in the poll, it was 1-2, so into the favor of NTU, and the second map was close, pretty
Very
close,
close, no doubt.
And then now the map, finally SP, they've done their warm up now. They're coming back stronger.
Yeah, maybe the first two maps just a warm up, and maybe
warm up.
they're going to win the next two maps really easily. Who knows? We'll find out shortly. But in the meantime, before we jump into our next map, we do have some replays of the previous map to show you. Of course, I think the player that we're going to be highlighting is Lumi, playing the off tank for the side of SP. Doing some really good work. Some of the gravitic fluxes were absolutely enormous. And just the positioning generally of Sigma on and off angle just being such a nuisance, pumping in so much damage, really doing a lot of work for SP. And I think that's a big part of the reason why they were able to take map 3.
I mean, he's the Here's the literal definition here of a Sigma male grind set, because he's been grinding that out non-stop. Like, there's so many times that his out comes out at the most crucial timing as well.
Yep. Having a strong off-tank player absolutely critical to allow you to control space, to control tempo, to deny the enemy, the ability to do what they want on the point. So, yeah, great play coming out so far, but it's still SP that trails 1-2 in this series. We're gonna head into our fourth map shortly. It's going to be hybrid, and it's going to be the choice of NTU. And what do you know? We're back in King's Row.
I mean, yeah, King's Row, classic. I believe both sides, but who's gonna come out on top here? That's the question. Oh man, but I'm also gonna be very interested in seeing if we do go into a map number 5 here, which is control. Do you think there's a possibility for a very cheesy control map to come out as well?
Well, what I want to see first actually is whether NTU go back to running their original roles, or if they persist with the role swap that we saw the previous time around, which, we are not entirely certain what the purpose of that was. But with regard to a map 5, I think all control maps are pretty viable. We see them in roughly equal measure. There isn't particularly one map or another that tends to be shunned by the community. So, with a control map for the last map and King's Row for map 4, it seems like we're headed into pretty familiar territory to end off the series.
Oh wow, to end off the series, so confident, huh?
Well, regardless of whether it's a map 4 or map 5. But anyway, King's Row, we've seen it once already today. That map ended pretty quickly, to be honest. We expect it to be closer, let's just put it that way. After how Icon Vault went, both teams tussling back and forth, putting up very strong defenses on point A. We could see more of the same here. Point A in King's Row, not the easiest one to take.
Yeah, I mean, just gotta keep cycling the attacking team like at the choke point, and the moment when they come and push past the main choke point, you get to play around the fountain, and from the fountain, you just get push back all the way to your archway, and then that's how you just play King's Row in general, or maybe even play the high ground.
Yep. Well, it is going to be a swap of sides. Singapore Polytechnic will defend first. NTU, they're done playing around. They're back on their usual roles. And seems like they'll be starting off with a bit of a rush composition with the Batiste and the Lucio. And an aggressive engagement in the form of the Doomfist. Singapore Polytechnic opening up once again with the familiar double shield composition with the Torbjorn and Cassidy. And of course, a very stable backline in the form of the Beb and the Brig. So the onus really is on NTU to find a way to close the gap, to find a way to jump on the vulnerable members of SP.
Yeah, I mean, right now, they really have to find a way to get to their backline, but overall, I see acceleration being popped off here by Lumi. I think Singapore Poly should have a decent time if Lumi is going to be a huge nuisance in the backline, and he is going to be in the backline. But look at how NTU is playing, just pushing up so far up front and personal, but 2 members are already down for the count. They're going to give some space to debut at least to make some kind of play happen. But Singapore Poly, they will win the first point and push NTU off the first point pretty fast. Within 30 seconds.
The Tyrant recruitment getting 2 to begin by taking out the Batiste and then the Doomfist. So probably NTU not quite expecting or anticipating where that turret was going to be. But they're going to try again now to rush the backline, it looks like.
They do have a second try. It was only 30 seconds spent because they gotta go for a rush push. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, don't worry, it was just only 30 seconds. And right now they are trying to play a little bit more safe, more conservative at this point of time, trying to at least break the shield and break the barrier. And they will be able to pop onto the point here, trying to find something to carry up that annoying pesky turret from the high ground there. And look at that, they're gonna go for the teleport straight up there. It doesn't get eliminated right off by the Torbjorn, but Your God will be able to retaliate with the Deadeye as well as the flashbang. But Lumi, yet again, the Gravitic Flux finds 3, and that's a 5-player kill streak for Lumi, yet again.
And the positioning on the defense, absolutely sublime there for SP. Just positioning the members on the high ground within their perfect, effective ranges, backing off from the aggression as required, coming from the enemy Reinhardt, and just constantly inflicting poke damage onto the side of NTU. So they've played this perfectly thus far. It's up to NTU to innovate and find a way in.
Oh, that's a double amplification field just right in front of one another. I mean, nothing much being made use of it, but they are able to do some massive burst damage, but they just can't clean up from the side of NTU. And that's the supercharger being popped here by Singapore Polytechnic. Oh, there's the Graviton Surge on to 3 years. It is a huge one, but the Immortality Field is being such a nuisance. Does get taken down towards the end, and NTU so far they are able to hold it back, but Chroma with the Molten Core just doing so much damage. But Bubble Kitty strikes back with the Doom Fist yet again. Meteor Strike online.
And it looks like it may look like the two amplification matrices did nothing, but in reality what it did was to clear the way for NTU to rotate through the right side of the map and adopt an alternative approach angle to get a good Graviton Surge off, and Reinhardt just swings freely and cleans up within the graph. So a decent time bank for NTU to work with coming into the street phase.
All right, 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. But yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you don't want to stand in front of the amplification matrix from both teams, so just rotate around, and that worked in the favor of NTU with the beautiful Graviton. And right now in the street space, I hear the Earth Shadow being popped off here, but again, the Immortality Field being such a huge nuisance. No one actually has died yet. Both Immortality Field down for the count. Bubble Kitty actually going for the high ground, trying to find that pesky Torbjorn, but unfortunately the armor is just way too much. Lumi yet again, Gravitic Flux, but can't really find any connection. Acceleration doesn't really make his mark. Now they're gonna pop the amplification field yet again from the south NTU, and they're gonna push past it actually, going for the kill. The Death Falcon coming in, and Debut is able to pick up 3 kills, will he be able to pick up 4? But no, it looks like Harley will be able to just take that for himself for the kill feed. And they have pushed Singapore Polytechnic all the way back into this one, and the street space, a clean face.
And NTU really upping tempo here, starting to pick the pace up, the sound barrier, coming up for the aggressive push, the aggressive engagement onto the members of SP. Of course, no barrier for SP to retaliate with, and that's NTU getting the second point with about 4 minutes to spare.
4 minutes is a lot on the third point of the map. The Torbjorn is... It looks like the Torbjorn is still going to remain that... I mean, the Molten Core is going to come out very shortly. They have the Supercharger, they have the Deadeye, but look at it, the counter out from the Graviton Surge. Will it be enough? That's the question here. Deadeye is not making a shot count yet. Looks like no Deadeye shot will come out, but the rally comes out from Singapore Polytechnic, trying to push NTU back to their spawn as much as possible. But Chroma, he's doing a lot of work on that Torbjorn.
Yep, the rally is providing so much sustain for the entire set of Singapore Polytechnic. Earlier on, Supercharger and the Deadeye coming out to neutralize the Graviton Surge from NTU. So it's pretty expensive fight win, you have to say, for SP, but they do hold off NTU for the time being. Now, NTU don't really have that many ultimates to work with, don't have a great engagement tool, so they'll need to be a bit creative with how they approach this.
Oh, there we go, Lumi yet again, Gravitic Flux does bring up at least 3 members on top of the Molten Core, doing massive amount of damage, but the Immortality Field again just denying a lot of those kills from happening. Lumi in a pretty optimal position from the back line. He will be the last to fall, but as you before we thought, they do manage to push all the way towards the end. Death Blossom to secure as well as the Earth Shadow, and there we go, a pretty solid push and attack phase for SU before result.
And the one thing that SP doesn't seem to be able to deal with is the aggressive sound barrier engagement from the enemy rush composition. Again, Claire pops the sound barrier, they run forward, ignore the members of SP stationed on the high ground before them, and just rush the backline. And it works out beautifully for NTU. They capped with 2 minutes, 44 seconds on the clock. That is a pretty sizable time bank.
Now Singapore Polytechnic, they kind of have to replicate what happened in Route 66, right? They gotta find the momentum and push all the way through. Yeah, I mean, the reason why they roll Route 66, I believe, is also because the moment they find that one pick, that one momentum, that one gap in the armor, they are able to push all the way through. But right now, SU before result, there's kind of no gaps in the armor at this point of time. Can they find it again? Can they make one?
It seems like SU before result are playing for pretty clear idea of their win conditions and of their objectives in mind. They know when to take fights, they know how to take fights, the ultimate use and control of the out economy seems to be pretty solid. So SP, this map in terms of a double shield versus Reinhardt based rush composition does tend to favor the Reinhardt composition. So it's up to SP to innovate and try something different. It looks like they will, starting off with a rush comp of their own with the Winston and Zarya, the Ryan and Zarya, excuse me.
Yeah.
And the Morel is you.
But look at that, Bubble Kitty is on the main. This could be huge if she can split the team in half, and they will be huge. It looks like Apple will get caught off on the other side of the wall, and he will be taken down just like that. Singapore Poly has to reset.
Well, quite simply, I think Apple was not expecting the Mei on the side of NTU, and yep, they will not fight a head-on. Instead, SP going for a completely different composition.
Oh, going for the pharmacy instead. I mean, this should be quite effective against a Reaper as well as a Mei. But Fear God has to find the shots, and he is a bit too close to the ground here. Reaper is able to tag him as well as the Mei is getting a lot of damage, but the pharmacy combo is just a bit much. But Chroma doing a lot of work with the Reaper, takes down one tank, one support, and gets rest up as well. This should be the first point for Singapore Polytechnic.
Yeah, I think you're just a little bit hesitant right there, standing around close to choke and getting poked up by the Farah. So the switch up working out beautifully for the side of SP. They will cap the points with a lot of time left in the time bank, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Wrecking Ball pick here by Lumi. You know, Sigma isn't working out. You know what? Let's play Wrecking Ball. Let's play and dive to the point. Get the power driver at least onto the support, and let your team follow up from there. And it seems to be working out just like perfectly fine. Because Fear of God right now, he has the Rocket Barrage at the ready.
Yep, well, it's a pretty good counter against the Mei. Can't really do much to interact with the Hammond. Lumi gets stunned up, Pop the shield gets frozen. Is he going to fall? Well, the Blizzard's going to come out, and this is going to do quite a lot of damage.
Oh, but look at that. Fear of God does get at least 2 with the Rocket Barrage. Getting taken down towards the end by the Lucio. Gets rest up, so it doesn't really matter at all. As you before results. Look at Claire trying to buy as much time as possible on the point, but they will be able to win this fight, so they should at least get close to this second point here.
Well, Bubble Kitty has had enough of the Mei. He goes over to the Tracer, probably to harass the backline of SP. Specifically, Nabit on the Ana, you would think is his target right here. A lot of spam damage coming through from SP. They'll be looking to take the early engagement. Oh, have they caught someone out in the corner?
Oh, yeah, they have, in fact, and that will be Lumi. They have the Graviton Surge, but they're gonna commit the Dead Eye to this. Gonna get that zone, maybe even take the Mercy there, but still so close. He couldn't get the rest up for Lumi as well. If you try to make some work out of Chroma, could potentially take him down, but they will go for the DPS trade towards the end as Bubble Kitty cleans it up. He does get the Pulse Bomb online as well. Maybe able to go for that Pulse Graviton Surge combo. Just gotta find the moment here.
Yep, Tracer's such a versatile pick, able to put so much pressure on the backline with relatively little resources demanded from the rest of the team. So the comp switch up working out to begin with, as Fear of God tries to navigate the roofs on the Farah. Tries to fly over them in the end.
They should have the Nano Blossom, I believe. Okay, but unfortunately, Chroma can't find the Zap Blossom. He is Nano, but only can go for the left. But huge Pulse Bomb from Bubble Kitty. Double kill, in fact, on the pharmacy, and this is gonna be such a huge detrimental damage to Singapore Polytechnic. They're gonna get pushed all the way back. NTU putting in the work. Showing who's boss.
Rev Pulse Bomb combo, you know, a pairing of ultimates as old as time. Works out perfectly there for the side of SU before result, and that's going to prompt some changes from SP. Fear of God goes over to the Doomfist, so it's more of a hit on Brawl matchup here.
Diva Bomb in an awkward position, but does only take down the Immortality Field. The Death Blossom comes out as well, takes down both tanks from Coma. Fear of God, I think this is a huge counter as well towards the Tracer, maybe able to catch it out with a perfectly timed rocket punch. And just like that, with 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining on the clock, they should be able to take this second point.
I think that was a beautifully decisive engagement from the side of Singapore Polytechnic. In with the bomb, in with the Doomfist, in with the Death Blossom. Invest a few ultimates, but they get the point cap, so it's worth it in the end. Now, we have got takes out the Tracer. Wow.
Oh, that's not good. The DI is gonna be here, trying to get some space here. Depu is able to take out the Doomfist at least, but kills are coming into the favor of Singapore Polytechnic. There is Earth Shatter, but can't be used whatsoever. But that should be fine. The payload is still coming around the bend. There is still enough time for Biggs to at least come back in time.
Well, it's rapidly approaching final fight territory here, and you should be able to get themselves out of spawn and take a good fight before the payload can reach the end, but some pretty decent positioning on the side of SG.
Oh.
Coming from outside. What's going on?
Oh, the Graviton Surge is coming up very surely. Oh, Shadow doesn't connect, I believe. That's quite unfortunate. Harley does have the Graviton. He does, but he connects onto more the team. But Chroma is free on the back line. That will be the team wipe coming in from NTU. Beautiful Graviton Surge coming in from Harley.
Once again, that absolutely critical ultimate is doing all of the work for NTU. Seems like whenever they get the grab online, they win the fight because there really isn't too much on the side of SP that's able to mitigate that.
Yeah, it's just a perfect Graviton. They can't counter it. They only have the Immortality Field. And Nebit, he doesn't have the Sound Barrier just yet. And that will be the Amplification Field being popped here from NTU, trying to just fight him at this man if possible. Bubble Kitty, 80%, almost really close to the pulse bomb. Could do a huge amount of work. Big does land, the Earth Shadow does only connect onto the Lucio. That should be more than enough. There is still the pulse bomb. Apple kind of falls off the map. And this one passing over Polytechnic has to fall back just a bit. Yet again, NTU, they are holding them around this man. 2 minutes left on the clock. Just waiting for Babakini to do this grand pulse bomb combo yet again. Harley is just so close to the Graviton Surge yet again. They have DDI as well.
Yeah, here comes the next fight again. It's a strong engagement. It's going to buy so much space. Shadow comes through, but the Graviton once again through it from NTU.
Oh, but there's so much damage coming in from NTU. They can only do so much, and that's one of the combos. They have to cycle the ultimates. They have at least the Deadeye and the Amplification Field for the next fight. That should be the next one. And Lumi, he's angry. He's gonna swap out over to the Sigma yet again.
Yeah, and how quickly did Haru charge that last Graviton Surge? Yes, on the Zarya. Again, he got it up so quickly and he has it available for the fight. So, a fight win for NTU. They already have the vastly superior time bank as SP go back to Detroit and test the composition that they're so comfortable on. But they have no ultimates to work with.
Yeah, Amplification Field from Adriel yet again. Trying to fight around the bench. Just a pesky choke here at this point of time. Big Ring Bronner is so low and he finally gets taken down. Just waiting for the Amplification Field and the Deadeye coming from NTU. Do they need it? There's the Amplification Field. Where's the Deadeye? He gets stunned in fact by Nabbit. The Brick doing so much work. The Kinetic Grass absorbing so much damage as well at the same time from Lumi. They are getting closer and closer towards the end here. They are managing to pick off each individual members of the NTU, but the Graviton comes in. Can they follow up from this? That's the question. Your Deadeye waiting for the experimental barrier to go down. Doesn't connect at all. But hey, NTU, they are able to push back Singapore Poly yet again. 10 seconds left on the clock. Singapore Poly, they are all wiped out, and it looks like NTU will take map number 4 in this best of 5 series.
But a series of clutch plays. Howl on the Zarya, absolutely the star of the show. There's so many Graviton Surges coming out from the Zarya player, and
Even to play the game, yeah, that's
yeah,
Zarya.
absolutely critical. No surprises there that the player of the game goes to the Zarya player.
Oh, look at that fat grab as well. That is just so huge, and that just completely enabled NTU to take it home.
Yeah, map 4 that got so close towards the end. It looked like Singapore Polytechnic had found the second win, found a way to push through the streets phase and then the final phase of King's Row, but NTU coming up clutch. And, I think the understanding of how to play a rush composition with the Zarya is so clear from the side of NTU. They were able to use the ultimates so effectively, so much value from the graph and from the beat, and that really was what won them the game in the end.
So a huge shout out, of course, and congratulations to the 2 winning teams here that will be bringing it into the grand finals tomorrow. And that will be Sleep Frog against NTU. Yeah, it's never gonna roll off the tongue that well, but no, that's that. And for the bronze match will be, of course, between MYP and SP. So it's the two
That's right.
Polytechnics.
Yes. Well, what can we say? We expected a close match, and we got a close match. Every map definitely went the distance. Well, every map was certainly very close. We saw both teams being very evenly matched. Great display of skill, great display of team coordination coming out from both NTU and SP. But at the end of the day, it's NTU that take this in the end. 3 maps to 1. We'll have a winner's interview coming up shortly with one of the members of the NTU squad. And, I really would love role swap, which was a bit interesting, but also the overall strategy, the overall team composition, and the overall approach to playing against the double shoot composition that SP brought to the table.
Yeah, but just like that, we're gonna go into the winners interview very shortly after this break. Welcome back, everybody, to the Singapore Collegiate Clash 2021. And my name is Swaz. Alongside with me right here is Bubble Kitty from NTU or SU before result. So, tell me more about the games that you just had in this best of 5.
Oof, those games were really, really close. I would say, wow, the opponents really put out a super, super tough fight, especially on Route 66. And with the new type of compositions that we see them playing, because we've scrimmed them before, but we've actually never seen them play those compositions like Orisa, Sigma, Ash, and Torbjorn. I thought that was really amazing coming from them. And they really, really pushed us to our limits that we were literally screaming our heads off.
That Route 66 game, though, it was a very interesting match that just happened. I was anticipating maybe NTU, well, they're just having fun, right? I mean, you just swap out for the off-time role just for a short while, but then you mentioned Route 66 kind of needs that Diva or Winston, someone to at least get the high ground, especially on top of the gas station. So can you tell me more about your team, actually, your team lineup and who are the players, where they come from?
Right. So our team name is called SU before results. I think that came out because Crescent or Claire, our Lucio player, came out with it, and because we're all from NTU compared to like NUS, I think they can actually choose to SU their results after they get it. But for NTU, we're a little bit backward. So yeah, so that's how we came out with our team name SU before results. On our tank players, we have Savage Deb, or today his name is Harl. He's playing today. Played most of the off tank role, and then we have Vtix on our main tank, and then we have Claire and we have Zerate on our supports, and me and Pew on DPS.
How is it having Crest on your team? Because he's, of course, one of the tournament organizers. So how is it like trying to balance Scrim with him and organizing this tournament?
Right. Okay. I guess scrims wise, Claire actually puts in a lot of effort. He helps us find out the scrims, even though we don't really have much time to scrim together. Maybe like once or like 2 or 3 times before coming to this collegiate clash actually. So Claire manages to balance a lot of things very well. I'm super amazed that he even managed to host this live LAN event given the new Omicron variant, right?
Yeah, I mean, things have been working out quite well. I mean, there are quite a number of fans out there also or like a lot of friends, supporters for all the teams here today, from what I can see, from secondary school to JC to Poly to university even. So based off today, I think you guys did an amazing job. Do you have any shout outs before we close things off as well?
Oh, shout outs. Definitely. I would like to shout out to our main support, Zerate. Today, I've not sure if you caught it on Route 66, but he slapped the outing enemy Sigma.
Yes, I saw
that. I don't know.
3 times?
I think 3 times. And then he even like built a nano and he clutched it out at the end for us to actually cap the point.
Oh man, okay, zero. Actually, where's Infamous? I don't think I saw Infamous, right?
Infamous is here. He's playing NYP.
Oops, sorry, mixed up. Sorry. Okay. Because someone mentioned that Zero was Infamous. I'm like, wait, what? Like, can't be right. I'm like, it got a bit messed up there, but yeah. So, anyways, that's about it from us. I'm just gonna, of course, give another huge shout out to our sponsors and partners. You know, gotta give a huge shout out to Antidote Studio, to All For Us. I mean, all for you. Game.gg, Game Pro Shop, Uni.co, Printers, as well as Blizzard Southeast Asia for allowing all this to be possible.
Yep. Big shout out to them and to all the organizers and as well as the players who have come down to make this event possible, especially.
Yeah. So that is all from me, and of course, Baba Kitty, the man himself, the Overwatch Cup player. So see you guys in a short while after this break.
Welcome back to our post-match analysis desk of the second semi-final of today between NTU and SP. It was a close match. It was a nail-biter as we expected, but it goes the way in the end of NTU. 3 maps to 1. Every map was so evenly matched between the two teams, and I'm glad we got to see, a clash of styles, but also an exhibition of the understanding, a deep understanding of the game, of different team compositions from both teams, and I think it was great to watch, a great show of Overwatch in the end.
Definitely. In fact, the one map they lost, right, was they will switch roles during the map.
Yeah.
For Route 66. So it was interesting to see that NTU actually had a more dominant performance compared to SB because So especially on Kings Row, if you notice, right, since Kings Row is the latest match, we shall talk a bit more in depth into Kings Row. In Kings Row, NTU ran Ryan Zarya while SP ran Diva. And generally, in such a confined map such as Kings Row, you wouldn't want to run Diva because Ryan Zarya gets so much more value out of Ryan Diva, especially on a map like Kings Row. So unfortunately, this actually paid dividends for NTU because if you notice, a lot of the team fights were won off Graviton surges. Savage did a lot of work with their Graviton, and I feel like whenever had an advantage, whenever SB had an advantage, such as the Shatter, they actually had one fight where they shattered 2, right, and then they killed 2, and then Hal came back and actually managed to get a Graviton off on 4. And then it's very difficult once the Graviton surge gets thrown out because it compresses everybody, and it's very it's basically, I think it comes down to the team compositions, especially on a confined map like Kings Row, as mentioned earlier.
Well, as you've said, it was a great match and lots of standout plays from different players. Let's take a look at some of the most noteworthy plays and players from that match. First of all, we have Lumi for SP, as we talked about, the off-tank for Singapore Poly, doing so much work mechanically, but also positionally in terms of the space he brought for his team and the amount of damage, the raw damage being pumped out by the Sigma. Absolutely immense and really kept Singapore Poly in the fight, in the hunt for many of these fights. He's going for Barrage, not quite working on this occasion. But yeah, Lumi just really putting a strong performance on the Sigma. Even though they lost the match today, we would expect him to come back strong tomorrow for the bronze medal match. And I think SP are looking good to take third place in this tournament.
Definitely. In fact, if you notice, right, Lumi is very impressive with his rocks because his rocks accuracy, especially in some frag clips that he even posted, is very impressive because he actually he's able to hit airborne targets. So I'm definitely one of the more. Sigma is a very mechanically intensive hero, so it's nice to see that someone is able to play Sigma to a high potential such as Lumi. In fact, if you notice, he juggles his shield and his kinetic grabs quite effectively. And that's how you can tell Sigma is actually a good. The player is actually a good Sigma player.
Yeah, I think in the last clip there we saw King's Row point A having the Sigma positioned up on the high ground, on the right side high ground on the defensive round for SP. He was able to do so much work and be such a nuisance, in such a thorn in the back of NTU as they try to rotate through the point, constantly poking away at the back line, constantly dealing damage, demanding resources. And yeah, it was a really strong performance overall, I would like to think.
Yep, definitely. In fact, Lumi actually I think performed as well as he could. So as to say, he tried to carry his team on his back, but unfortunately, maps like King's Row is a bit hard because King's Row is a more team-oriented map, so it's difficult for him to actually try to make as many plays as he did in the previous maps.
And another standout performer from the side of Singapore Polytechnic, Fear of God, playing the DPS role on the Farah as well as on the Cassidy, doing so much work to duel the enemy DPS first of all and to shut them down on many occasions. He had some real pop-off moments that kept his team in the fight. Farah playing indoors, very dangerous game, but connecting some direct rockets, very lovely there. Deadeye coupled with the supercharger taking care of the Zarya in one shot. There was a later clip I think where he shuts down the outing Farah that could otherwise have easily wiped the entire of his team. And so some very impressive plays again coming out from Fear of God.
Definitely, Fear of God actually putting in a lot of work. As he, if you notice, his DPS, one is a projectile Farah and the other one is Cassidy, and both are actually both require different playstyles. And I'm amazed that he could actually pull out such good plays from these two differing playstyles of characters. So yeah, definitely, especially when going up against an established player like Bubble Kitty, he actually managed to show that he's able to stand on his own and definitely garners a lot of recognition in that aspect.
I think both mechanically and in terms of understanding of position and the role in the team, he was very impressive. But so too is the next player we're going to highlight, Deadpool for the side of NTU. Of course, a very well-known DPS player, very mechanically talented, and here he just really played a pivotal role, I think, in NTU coming out on top. On this defense here on Icon Wall, there was that huge flank with the Deadeye that got two that really saved the team the points. And of course, there was that play with the Reaper at the end, just alone with the supercharger, carrying the team fight, and a really, really solid foundation for the rest of the team to build around.
Yeah, definitely. As when you mentioned the Reaper play, I was actually amazed because I was sitting at the edge of my seat. I was thinking, right, they're gonna lose the map because they're gonna lose the point because it was just a Reaper of point. But interestingly, he actually managed to clutch that. So yeah, I'm actually amazed because generally we see Deadpool as his camp player. He always pulls out this Cassidy, if you notice in many of these clips, such as this frag clip that he has right now, all the headshots there and all the dead eyes. But yeah, he could also pull out some projectile heroes. So it's very interesting to see that he has the two different pools that he could actually pull out from.
Yeah, well, so strong performances across the board for players on both teams. But at the end of the day, we had to select the player of the match, and it has to go to none other than Bubble Kitty. So I think that he may have been the standout player today amongst a crop of very strong players. Just so consistent, doing so much damage on multiple occasions. He carried the team fight, getting 2 or 3 or 4 Ks that really turned the fight around when it looked like it wasn't going well for his team. And, a well-known player, very consistent, comboed well with ultimate, had his own individual mechanical pop-off moments. Everything fell into place for this star player of the NTU roster.
And in fact, in addition to what Lumos has just mentioned, Bubble Kitty even have some clips on Zarya.
Oh yes.
And that one map where he played off role on off tank. Yeah, he actually and he played Diva as well. So you can see that he actually can play many heroes at such a high caliber and level. So I'm actually very, very impressed, and I do believe he deserves this play of the match. Even when all the other players stand out as themselves.
And I think the big question now is what will happen tomorrow? Will we see such a high level of play continue to come out from the NTU roster against, a team that performed really, really impressively today in the form of Slip Fragubu? They were around. We saw them hanging around to watch the match between NTU and SP. Maybe they're just having fun. Maybe they were doing a bit of scouting, a bit of preparation for the opponents tomorrow. Who knows? But I have to say I'm really excited for the match because these two teams that are facing off in the final have proven their ability to play really well, perform really effectively on LAN, retaining the level of performance that they showed online. The LAN environment hasn't hampered them in any way. In fact, it may have even made things even better for them. May have boosted their performance, given them a boost of morale, a boost of adrenaline, and both teams just seem to be playing with so much confidence and so much swagger at the moment. So it should be a great match tomorrow.
Don't forget one particular particular thing of importance is that NTU actually lost against Sleep Frogu in the qualifiers.
Absolutely.
So this will be a grudge match. We'll see how much NTU has improved, how much they have actually analyzed from their previous game against Sleep Frogu. So
Yeah, I think it's getting a bit easier to pronounce the name after saying
definitely.
it non-stop for a whole day. But yeah, absolutely, it is a longer series, a best of 5 instead of a best of 3. So more things can happen. You have more time to adapt to your opponent. When you pick the map, you have more chances to choose something that your opponent might not be so comfortable with. And of course, you've got more footage of your opponent to analyze, more data on what they like to run, where they may potentially be a bit weaker. So it seems like there are plenty of opportunities for NTU to come in and get a strong result. Well, it's been a great day of Overwatch today. I'm really happy to have been able to bring it to you here with Xenofly, beside me on the analyst desk, and of course Twilight's earlier. And we hope to see you tomorrow for a really exciting final. For now, bye.